So this is pilot episode of Across the PondCast. So I guess we're going to do brief introductions of ourselves for anybody that doesn't know us. I'm Flinter. I've been doing YouTube for just shy of 4 years. And yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I started doing YouTube myself. I'm Saget. I do have a YouTube channel as well. I am a streamer here on Twitch too, but I started in 2017 and we have now got to a point where we have been wanting to do a podcast for a long time. And that is now what this Across the PondCast is gonna be. I would still consider both of us actually being somewhat small creators.
Yes.
In terms of someone just starting out, we've been at it for a few years. You've been full-time for, what, how long now?
I mean, full-time without any other job whatsoever, about a year and 3 months.
Yeah, so it's definitely to a point where at least Flinter can live off what he's doing with this, and I hope to get there one day, but my channel is about one quarter your size?
Yeah, about.
Yes, somewhat like that. If everything goes well, you should be hitting the big 100k mark this year.
Yeah, that's weird and exciting and terrifying.
Where is the Flandro dog at? He is actually Canadian. Wow, I'm so sorry. You are from Pennsylvania and I am from Denmark, which is why we went with this name, Across the PondCast. We were actually really smart with that thing, I have a feeling.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird thing. I said something to the effect of that, and then you came up with the actual name.
Yeah, but what we're going to do here is pretty much just going to be an introduction of what we hope is going to be I want this to be an ongoing thing. We've been talking about it for so long.
Yeah, more than a year for sure. We've actually wanted to do a podcast, and we've finally gotten around to doing it, so I think it only makes sense to start with an kind of introductory episode as to how we've gotten where we are and maybe why we even want to do a podcast, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, should we start at the very beginning? Like, what led up to you actually start doing YouTube? Because I know that's actually quite an interesting story rather than mine.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that. I think we should also mention as well before we get too far into this, if you're watching this on Twitch, and maybe you can't stay through the whole thing, there is a YouTube channel where they are going to be uploaded, and if you're watching on YouTube, there is a Twitch channel where you can watch them live. That I can give you the link for, which is twitch.tv/acrossthepondcast, and it'll be in the description as well.
Nice. Already selling out.
Already. I mean, you know, do what you gotta do.
Yeah. I mean, we need to make sure that people can actually find us somewhere, and we would probably be talking as well, even though there was no one watching. We are going to say that by the end of each of the episodes, I think we're going to be trying to do a Q&A on Twitch. So if you do have any questions to either of us, you're more than welcome to come around and actually ask us. But for the most part, we're not going to be acknowledging chat during an episode. But yeah, let's get back to what led up to you becoming Flinter, first of all.
Yeah, so it was actually interesting. On yesterday's live stream, somebody asked me what was my inspiration for YouTube, and I told a bit of this story. When I was very young, probably 4 to 5 years old, I watched I believe it was a VHS tape of what was then called Whitetail Madness. It's now Jury Outdoors, and I loved what they were doing, and I wanted to have basically my own hunting show on the Outdoor Network or wherever I could do it. By my early teens, I probably knew that wasn't going to happen. You know, I didn't have the resources to do so. And I guess always from that point, I wanted to have some sort of career or at least some sort of like side project in entertainment, or at least, you know, video creation, content creation type of business. So I would say I made my first YouTube video in probably 2012, 2013.
Oh, just quickly here as well. Just to another thing that we kind of forgot to mention. I am 29 years old. I'm just about to be 30, and Flinter is quite a bit younger than me actually as well. So
yes, I'm 21.
We are little different places in life, but we share a common goal, so that is why we work so well together. But go back
Yes.
to your nice little story here.
Yeah, it was actually a relevant point actually to mention.
Yeah.
So yeah, I made my first video. I don't even know what my first video was, to be completely honest with you. I did some YouTube videos hunting around when I was really young. I would imagine that was one of my first, but I did some gaming stuff. Nothing ever really caught on. I never stuck to it. And in 2015, I made a video in the Hunter Classic where I just found what, if you don't play the game, is kind of just a rare animal, a non-typical deer. I shot that in the game, made a video on it, and I don't even know what clicked. It may have been the fact that I edited that more. I was a little older, so I had a better idea of what I wanted to do with making the content, and I was a little more proud of myself, and just for whatever reason, I just stuck to it, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to try this. I'm really going to go for it. So I started making a couple of videos a week, nothing insane, for, I guess, almost 2 years? Almost 2 years. It was just twice a week, Tuesday and Saturday, I believe it was. I had different schedules, but The Hunter Call of the Wild came out in February of 2017, so I started with that. I didn't do a whole lot with it, just kind of the occasional video. I never really got into the game very much, and that was actually not too long before I met you. So the big thing that kind of worked out, I could not find a rare in that game. Could not do it. And I ended up finding your YouTube channel. You had a video of like a montage of them. And I was like, okay, this guy seems pretty cool. And then I tweeted out that to the Hunter Call of the Wild, I feel like I have like a lot of hours in the game and still no rare, and everybody else has a rare. And you responded. Do you remember what you said?
I don't, but I'm pretty sure it was something along the lines where I was just, yeah, well, I will find you a rare or something.
Yeah, something like you should come join me on stream or we can find one, something like that. So I did. We went out and we didn't find any rares, but basically you ended up leading me to a place where I did find a rare, like the next day or something. But anyway, that side was irrelevant because it was after that first stream that you basically told me that I sucked at YouTube.
Yeah.
Do you want to
pretty
expound
much
upon that a bit?
No, it was just, that was about the time I had my channel for like half a year at the point where I ran into you, and I started my own channel with a very, very different mindset than you, because I wanted to pursue something serious with this. So I actually had a lot of time before even starting the YouTube channel. I ended up with studying a lot about YouTube, and I don't know what made me choose the Hunter back in the days as the game that I wanted to do, but I kind of looked across most of the competition of the other YouTubers in the game, and I could clearly see none of those had any idea what they were doing when it came to the YouTube side of making videos on YouTube. They made great videos and make good content and such, but there's so much more to YouTube than actually just producing videos. And I kind of just blatantly said to Flinter, you had around 6,000, I think?
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah, subscribers at the point where I just went, yeah, you really don't know what you're doing, let me help you. And I started helping you a bit, and you actually listened, which was, I don't know if I want to say it was a surprise, but it said a lot about you, because I came around, I had just barely hit 1,000 subs by the time, I think.
You maybe had 1,200 when we streamed together, something like that?
Yeah, and you clearly saw that I knew. You trusted me, it seemed like, and I was pretty happy with that, at least.
Yeah, I feel that could definitely be a negative aspect of the thing, of my character, I guess, but I tend to be a little bit, maybe too much blindly following, but in this case it was actually quite good, because I was just like, okay, I listen.
Yeah, and where it all then just ended up from there is, well, it's pretty much history. We've been through a lot over the last, it's about to be 2 years, man.
It'll be 2 years, I think, in either late May or early June. Probably late May.
Late May, I think, is right about that. But yeah, ever since then, ever since we started hanging out and such, a few things changed in your life, which made it a lot easier for you to get to where you're at now, because you were doing college at the time when I met you.
Yeah, so I'll actually go back to something you said. You started YouTube with the mindset that you were going to make something out of it. My beginning mindset was that I was going to share cool things that I did in games. I never intended to make this a career in any sense of the word. But yeah, since I've met you in 2017, we'll just go through it because we got some time here. This is podcast format. I like this. Through that summer, we did a lot of content together, actually. Got to know you pretty good, and I think you got to know me quite well. I don't know exactly when it started, but very quickly after school started again that fall, I was just immediately not into it. I wasn't into my major. I wasn't into just anything that I was doing. I had no passion for it, and I don't know. I couldn't do it. I started just dealing with, I wouldn't call it severe depression, but it was pretty bad. Skipping most of my classes. We'd go to like one class a day and then go to work after that. Was not a good time in my life, but you were the only one that I reached out to. I reached out to Zaggi and just kind of was like, oh, what do I do? I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. I'm hating school. This is the worst. And I just basically asked you, do you think it's reasonable or the right decision to try dropping out? And you can go ahead and actually say what your kind of thought process was, but you were very supportive of my decision, which no one else was at the time.
I think it's just because YouTube is still such a new thing, so people don't believe that you can actually make something out of it if you're not a big shot over there on that platform. But basically what I told you was you need to do what makes you happy. And you're definitely not happy at the place where you were at. And I really care for the people I care for. I do nearly everything in my power to make them feel better. And one of the things that really, I don't know if it stood out, but your passion for wanting to create and wanting to make stuff was definitely just so clear to me that you wanted to do something where you had an impact on a lot of people and not just sit around and play around with computers in college and go even further in depth.
Right.
And I think I don't know what led me to actually push you so hard, because it was a difficult time, and I just again think it came down to that we trust each other like a lot by now as well. That there was someone within the same space as you, because that is also hard to find. It's hard to find someone like-minded when you're just starting out. There's a lot of people who want to do it, but they don't want to commit to doing it. But we were both in this for the same reasons. We both want to, essentially, you didn't know that you were at the time, but essentially we want to be able to make this a career. And everything just led up to, I don't know, but the thing that really sticks with me is that your mom still hates me for pretty much just pushing you so hard. But I believed in you. I could see that's also because that I have the background I have with the YouTube knowledge, and I see where things are going in this on this platform, and it just made so much sense for someone as driven as you to just pursue it. You just didn't know it yourself yet at the point, and at some point it just switched for you, and you just went, I need to drop out of college because I'm not happy. And being happy is one of the most important things, because else everything doesn't matter anyway. And
yeah,
I just remember when you told me. I just remember when you told me that you were gonna tell your parents. I was so nervous on your behalf. I don't think I ever said it to you, but I was just like, oh my god.
Do you remember what happened? Did I ever? I don't know that I exactly told you.
I don't think you did. You just told me that you were gonna mention it soon.
I've never told this story on stream. We might as well just absolutely go into it. It must have been a day I didn't have work, because it was a Monday, and I always worked Mondays. I must have been off for some reason. And I was sitting in my room. I was probably just getting finished chatting with you on Twitter's DMs, is where we did our communication back then. And my mom and my dad came in my room like, oh God, what happened? And she asked me, do you know who, and I won't say her name, do you know who this person is? And I did, but I said no. And she goes, well, she's the She's in charge of the Center for Academic Success at the college you were attending, and she says you're not attending class. Your grades aren't very good. Like, what's going on? I'm like, shit. I was literally gonna bring this up later. Now this looks horrible. I really felt I was not gonna be able to convince them to let me drop out because of the way that came up. But yeah, basically, they ended up getting a phone call from the college that I wasn't doing well. To be fair, that made it a lot easier to bring the conversation up because they brought it up for me. But yeah, I was crying in my room, basically telling them, like, I have no idea what I want to do. It hit me like months ago that I cannot see myself doing this computer thing for the rest of my life. I can't continue doing this and just getting nowhere. And then, you know, the other thing was, both of them thought it was actually because of like the amount of gaming I was doing. Both of them thought the video game addiction or whatever they thought it was behind it. So I had like my dad forever trying to figure out like what the hidden cost was that I wasn't telling him. And it was actually, I think it was around then, I've told you this, where I mentioned how you had me on your streams and stuff, and that you had, like, I had talked to you, you went through a similar situation actually with dropping out of college, and that, you know, you supported my decision, and my mom was just like, well, of course, you know, if you're in his streams, he makes more money. I'm like, no, that's not what's happening here. And I had to explain that I was like, I've been skipping classes for a long time. I skipped a lot of my classes freshman year. I just did better in them. So I guess that didn't show, or they didn't care. But I was in a dark place that day. But yeah, that was early October of 2017. By the end of 2017, I think we had hit 16K. Like, the channel really started doing well. That was console release of The Hunter Call of the Wild.
Yeah.
That was big for both of us, actually.
Yeah, it was. It pretty much skyrocketed what we were doing, and it also really, really just showed that we were doing something right, which was a big thing. I think I don't want to call it convincing your parents, but at least that they could see that you made an impact.
Yeah,
but it wasn't until late 18, right? No, that was when you moved out. Late
I
17.
moved out in August of 18. Late 18, they started to realize there was something there, but they still doubted it for so long. Like, okay, so I'm going to talk money a little bit, not too much. I don't want to give out anything too specific because that's just, you know, private information. But prior to the, you know, dropping out of college and really picking up YouTube more consistently, occasionally I would get like $100 payout. That's like the threshold for YouTube payout. And in probably November, I had like a higher number than that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was more. And then because YouTube pays like from the month prior, I still got like the $100, and immediately my mom's just doubting everything about what I'm doing, that it's a scam. And I'm like, you understand this is Google, this is a company, it pays a month later. And then it finally showed up, and like they started believing it a little bit. But it was actually probably March, April of 2018 where you and I started talking about like live streaming and stuff. I had streamed with you quite a lot. We met Jacksabeard, I streamed with him and both of you guys, and we started talking about moving out and getting real internet because that was like the big next step.
Yeah, actually getting to a place where you could live stream on your own, because you had what we refer to as Flinternet.
It was very bad.
Oh, remember those 5 hours uploads, huh?
Oh god, it was more than that.
Ouch. Ouch.
Had a couple of 9-hour uploads. But yeah, around that time, basically I brought up moving out, and it was just like a firm no. So I was like, all right. I ended up getting a second internet line for the house so that I could at least not have anybody else home impacting my internet. It was still really bad. It still dropped out a lot, but I was able to stream a lot more consistently with you guys and not have to rely on everybody being out of the house and stuff. So at least that was a start. And the channel did pretty well. I think by late spring there, we were probably around 25K. It really started picking up. And, sorry?
Yeah, I just said, yeah. I was trying to figure out when it was, but must have been around there, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was late spring. So I was like very consistently looking up apartments. I'm trying to find somewhere to go. And I guess my sister must have looked in and saw me doing that one day, because suddenly my mom brings it up and she's like, "You're not moving." Just out of nowhere, "You're not moving." And I was like, "Do you want, like, you understand I want to make this my career?" And she said yes. And I was like, "That is the next step to making it a career." And she was just like, "You're not ready to move out." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And that was still during a time where every other day I was getting questions: when am I going back to college? When am I getting another job? And I knew the channel was doing pretty well. I could continue this if I just kept working at it. So by early August, I finally convinced them that like moving out is the next step to really moving forward. So we got moved out. Virunga Savannah came out the first full day that I lived in this apartment. I got my internet the 29th. The map came out the 30th.
Yeah.
And I think I streamed for like 7 hours that day. It was like the most fun I've ever had in my entire life. Just sitting there streaming by myself, my own equipment doing it, finally. And it was just amazing. And since then, the channel has absolutely exploded. I think, let's see, in the first 3 months, it doubled. And since then, another almost 15K. It's been amazing. So, the important things that have happened, up to August, moving out and all that, it's been great. I've been moved out on my own for 6 months. Been loving it.
Yeah. I mean, everything just luckily worked out, because I would hate if I had your mom being mad at me in a few years. She's probably still going to be, because you never finish college, but yeah.
Nah, I mean, I guess that's every parent's dream, is to have their kid graduate college, but that just wasn't in the cards for me, I don't think.
Nah, college is not for everyone.
It's really not.
And you actually were self-conscious enough about it, so you actually realized it and then did something about it, instead of just sticking through and getting even further into debt.
Yes. It's very unfortunate how much emphasis is put on actually going to college to get any kind of career these days. I think it's overly pushed onto high school students that end up acquiring a bunch of debt and getting a degree they're never going to use. So that was a big thing where I was like, I'm not using this degree. I got to stop.
Yeah. You did. You actually did. Made a good choice, and look at where you're at now.
Yeah.
I know it's only been 6 months, but it just feels like it's so much longer since you actually moved out, because so much has just happened as well over the last half a year.
So much.
I mean, everything just goes so much more smoothly when you're able to just focus on yourself and not needing to, or you don't have to worry about the parents and such yeeting your internet connection every few moments. I see that being a big factor as well. So, but I'm really, really happy. And one of the things that just, I wish more people would believe in their gut, because you did.
Took some persuading, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to a point where people just need to find that if they have the doubts, they need to find someone to really talk it out with, that can actually lay down pros and cons with them, so they can figure out, yeah, I know you might have disappointed your parents a little, but you're not living your parents' lives, you're living your own. So it's
absolutely,
it's very, very important that you do what you want to do. And if you did not have a backup plan, I would not be as supportive as I was when you came across and say, like, I don't want to do school anymore.
Yeah. Last thing I'll throw onto my story, and then I'll stop about it. But I was in a very unique situation where I did have another job at the time. I had a part-time job. I still had, my parents. I'm still on their health insurance. I still had, I had very few expenses compared to where a lot of people would be starting out YouTube. So I wasn't I was very much a unique case, I think. But, you know, everybody,
Everyone is though.
yeah, everybody has their own thing, and everybody can find a way to make it work. I maybe had it easier in some senses where I had that ability to start, but I definitely had the internet issues and a very significant lack of support, I would say, from close family members. But again, as you said, nobody understands the business that's over the age of like 30 for the most part, so it's completely understandable.
Yeah, and that's also a thing because that's probably where we've really been able to benefit a lot from each other is just having someone that's either going through or has gone through the same thing.
Right.
Because even I'm 10 years, well, 8 years older than you, and yet we're still doing pretty much the same here. But you, I want to say that you're actually a different generation than I am because you lived with PCs all your life. I would
Pretty
imagine.
much. Yeah, I
Whereas
remember being 3 or 4 playing them.
yeah, where I think I got my first PC at the age of, I want to say my own first PC was I was 17. We probably had PCs in the house since I was 14 or something. But just having someone that has gone through and is really in the mentality of, yeah, PCs has been around all your life. It just helps me as well to maybe make the connection easier because there is stuff that I clearly don't understand around some of the things going on the internet where, oh, yeah, it's just because it's a younger generation thing. When memes and such came around, it's always a good thing to have someone to figure them out for you because I don't always get them. But nah, it's surreal. It is really surreal. Can you just imagine 20 years ago this wouldn't have been possible and now you're living off it? Well, 20 years ago you would have been one. So
Yeah.
that's very. But yeah, just yeet into my own story a little as well. I actually started doing YouTube back in 2006. I was playing World of Warcraft at the time. Did a few videos on that, and I've done a few real life videos on a separate channel with my friends and such when we were skiing, and I really enjoyed the whole process of that. I never ever thought of it being anything I could live off because back in 2006 you could not really make any kind of money or anything of that, and that was not my intention behind it because I was working on. At the time I was actually going to college, I ended up dropping out of that as well. And then I ended up going through education to become a landscaper. And I somehow did not really find a place to, well, kind of go through the education with it. So I ended up on a golf course. I still went through the same education as the other landscapers, but I am basically a greenkeeper by craft, and I've been working on golf courses for 9 years, I think. Leading one of them for a few years as well. But by the time I have a daughter with my ex, and by the time my ex got pregnant, we kind of figured out that I couldn't be working 70, 80, 90 hours a week and still have a family at home. So I cut down on that job, went down to just be a regular greenkeeper and only work those 40 hours a week. And at the time, my ex had a evening job, so I was home alone with the kid every single evening alone for the most part. And she slept very well. She's always been sleeping really well. And it just left so much time for me to do stuff, and I thought, well, might as well just see if I can make something out of all this spare time I have. I've never been much into watching series and movies and such, as it is anyway, and all of a sudden it just hit me, I can do videos. I really liked doing videos back in the days when I was doing World of Warcraft stuff, and the real life videos and such I've done as well, and I was like, And then I started, this was October 2016. I just got laid off work from the golf course. And I just started studying and trying to figure out what it takes to make it as a YouTuber. I found some really, really great guys. And some of them I'm even fortunate enough to could be able to call my friends by now. That has been able to mentor me and inspire me in what I wanted to do. But from October 2016 until the 7th of January 2017, I didn't have a YouTube channel. I didn't do YouTube. And then when January came along and I said, we're doing it now, everything worked out so very, very well because I found the game that I wanted to be in. I was very specific. Let's get into the whole how to do YouTube thing in another episode. But I was very specific about what I wanted to do and how I saw it being done. I chose a game where there wasn't much competition. There's like 5 or 6 big YouTubers in the Hunter at this time. I don't think anyone had 10,000 subscribers by the time.
Nah, no one would have.
No, and I was just like, all these guys sucks. I can easily outdo them by doing YouTube, and I just set out with a goal. I want to be the biggest Hunter YouTuber on as a starting point, and I wanted to stick for that. And by February, 6 or 7 weeks after I started the channel, Call of the Wild came out, and I just decided to make that my game, and I was all over it, and the channel just, I don't want to say it exploded, but within the first year of the channel, we hit 6.4k subscribers, which is a lot in a small game as the Hunter. And during that year, I also found you, and I kind of gave up on the idea of getting to be the biggest, because I started to help one of the biggest instead, but I'm okay with only being second best, even only third as it is of right now, because in 2018, the year that I really thought was going to be my year, I was still with my ex at the time and lived our own little happy life where me taking care of the kid every night, but all of a sudden that wasn't fun for her anymore. So in April, I think it was. Yeah, it was actually on my birthday. My birthday is the 12th of April. She said that she was moving out. So we broke up, and pretty much 2018 just turned into a bad place to be, Zaggi, for the next few months. Everything that could go wrong basically did go wrong for me. Found a new job. I had to live with my parents because I couldn't sit in the house that we had, and my ex moved to a city nearby. I ended up moving home to my parents for I think 3 or 4 months, I think, until I found where I'm living now, which is a nice little apartment, and I'm very, very happy to be here. I only had the kid every other weekend because that was what made most sense, so I didn't pull too much strain on my parents as well, being at them. And my mom is just in loving my kid so much and just want to spend all the time she can with her. But yeah, I don't want to overdo it, so we agreed on me just having her every other weekend. And when I finally got, we had actually said as soon as I got my own place, I wanted to see her more. And when I finally got my own place, 2 weeks before I moved out, I got the notice that my ex is actually going to move to a different city, 150 kilometers away from where I was moving. And I was like, but how can you do that? How can I get to see my kid more then? Well, you'll just be able to see her every other weekend pretty much. And I was like, oh, but that wasn't what we agreed on. And long story short, it's not easy to be a single parent, and the system is not very, very helpful when it comes to that either. So yeah, it got exactly how the mom wanted it to be, and yeah, that's pretty much where we're at now. I have a lovely kid. I see her every other weekend, and I love her to bits. But this YouTube and streaming thing has definitely saved me. Because if I didn't have the community, which is you guys, if I didn't have Flinter in particular, I don't know how the hell I would have gotten through what I got through the last year, simply because there was no one to talk to. I had nowhere to go. All of my friends they wanted to help out, but they didn't know what to do, and I don't think you knew what to do, but you were just there listening to me whine, and I'm usually very, very good at coming up with solutions myself. I just need to be kind of flowing, and my thoughts flow so much easier if I'm just having someone to talk to. And
that's important for humans in general, just having someone to talk to.
Yeah, and the amount of, I don't want to call it long night talks and such we've had, but there's definitely been like very, very, very many hours of talking where we haven't really been doing much, but we've just hung out. And I'm very, very fortunate to have met someone as important to me at the time where I did. But apparently, good things do happen once in a while, even though 2018 pretty much seemed to be the exact opposite, because I had to let go of everything I had. I lost my dog, I lost my house, I lost my kid, I lost my family, and yeah, it's basically a fresh start. And it was so much easier with having the community and just having people around you, and being, you have a purpose as being a creator. There is people that are actually looking forward to whatever you give them, and be it gaming videos, be it tutorials, hints, help, or just someone to talk to, which is one of the most important things when we're doing streams, is just having people that we chat with. It's so fulfilling, I think is actually the word to go with, because you I don't want to say that you win by helping others, but knowing that you make a difference really, really does feel good. And it's so humbling that I think across, if we probably have more than 100,000 followers if we combine everything we have by now.
Probably.
That's a lot of people and a lot of minds we get to affect, either with laughter or with some place where they can come and talk to. And the community that we've been a part of for the past 1.5, 2 years as well now it's just really evolved into this thing that has just been exactly what we wanted to be, where someone, no matter who you are, you're always welcome as long as you treat others with respect and play nice. And it's a really, really good thing. But yeah, I had an idea that I wanted to hit, I think it was 20,000 subs within the second year. I didn't, because during that whole summer of 2018, my mind was really not into creating content very much. Real life, unfortunately, does come first. But it was an experience. I don't wish it for anyone else, but it has definitely shaped me as a person way more, to the degree now where I know what I want in life, and I know what's important for me. And this is definitely important for me as a mean to get to a place where I can hopefully be even more independent than I am working a regular 8 to 4 job, which is what I'm looking at doing pretty soon again. Yeah, that's basically led up to where we're at now. I think there's been a lot of things that we've left out, but
yeah, we hit the big stuff.
Yeah, at least the personal stuff. I mean, in terms of YouTube and such, we should do a full how to start YouTube thing at some point, I suppose.
Yeah, I think so.
And where we're going from here onwards and upwards of what it's called, there's basically, I mean, there is this Article 13 thing that I'm not too happy about in Europe, but for you things really look somewhat good, and I don't hope it's going to be as bad as everyone fears it's going to be, but we just don't know what's going to happen in Europe yet.
Yeah, I imagine there's going to be a solution that comes of it, but it is quite scary not knowing.
Yeah. And I don't know. Is there like something we haven't really talked much about? I don't know. I kind of want to have more about where we got to where we're at now, like as friends. But I think everything has just been praising the other so far as well.
Well, I mean, it's just been the fact that we, for me at least, any positive or negative in my life, you've been the one that I've turned to talk about it. And I think for the most part, you could probably say the same.
Yeah,
I assume, but we've just kind of been through a lot of ups and downs together over the course of the past almost 2 years. So it just kind of just
Yeah,
we grew close together.
it's also been because we've been able to really connect as well as we have. First of all, we have a common interest in the game that we play, and we have a common interest in YouTube, and there's just so many similarities, but yet personal, I think we're very, very different. Like our personalities.
Yeah, very
And
much.
I really think that helps a lot. With
Yeah, it
having,
allows us to
yeah,
bounce ideas off each other,
exactly.
and that we don't have the same mindset necessarily.
Where we're not just always bouncing that, yeah, you get this right back because we think the same, we do the same, and
Right.
we're very different. I mean, I kind of feel like we should be talking about some of the stuff that we've been trying to do as well, where not everything we've been trying to do has really been working out for us.
Not even close.
We, first of all, just getting this podcast going has been a thing for more than a year now. And
Yeah.
I'm happy we started it, and I really do enjoy just sitting and talking and such. And I want to do this. I know this is going to be hard to do as soon as I start working again, but we're definitely going to try to do it. I don't want to say that we're going to do it as a weekly thing, but at least I want it to be a monthly thing.
Minimum, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully more often, but real life, as you say.
But some of the things that we tried to do as well, we had another creator in the community, Jaxiebeard. We kind of picked him up back in, was it January last year?
Mid to late January. I want to say like January 22nd or something like that.
I remember very specifically I was his 237th sub. And there was something about that guy that just, I knew that he had potential to become the next big thing. He has such a mesmerizing voice. He had such a humbling personality watching his streams, and whenever we popped into his stream, at that point we were both fairly well-known creators in the Hunter Call of the Wild, at least. So he definitely knew who we were. We just started hanging out with that guy, and everything just seemed to be going towards the direction of we needed to make something completely insane and big together. So we wanted to make a joint Discord, and there was all these kind of big ideas that we had, and unfortunately it just turned out that me and Beard was too stubborn and too similar. So a few of the things just did not really work out as well as we hoped to. So pretty much just back in the boat now, where it's back to the good old days where it was just you and I, and of course Beard is a lovely guy, and he has an amazing community himself, and he's gotten to a point where did he get like 10,000 subscribers the first year?
Somewhere in there, yeah. He did insanely well for a first year channel.
Yeah, but one of the experiences that I really took away with that is just knowing if you have a tiny bit of luck, because yeah, it was luck that we ended up finding his live stream at the point where we did. But if you really want to work hard for something, there is really every option out there, as long as you strive to make everything you do better than the thing you did last time you did it, or yesterday. And I don't know, I have a feeling that everything we're doing now is just the beginning of something that is going to be truly great at some point.
I hope so.
Looking at you crossing, I'd say you should be able to cross 100,000 subscribers during this year, which is none of us would have believed it a year
Not
ago.
staying within the community that we're in, at least.
No, would have definitely been us trying to get away from the Hunter or Call of the Wild or something like that.
That was actually something I didn't bring up in the bit of the story. We had a period where I was doing daily uploads, and we essentially dropped the Thursday upload for a month or two, and then started doing the Forest on Thursdays simply to try to get away from the Hunter, because we just felt there was no true growth beyond maybe 50 to 60k within this community.
Yeah. the I don't even know, because there's guys like Fooster and such who's always just been doing massive different stuff, but he really got a big bump out of the Hunter Call of the Wild, but I just never expected it to be a thing where you could even consider going full-time YouTube off that, and you're doing it now.
Yep.
So it's insane, the people you meet and how much love you get on a journey like this. I've met some truly amazing people. Some of the guys that I have had moderate my live streams or moderate the Discord or anything like that has been with me for more than a year by now, and I just feel so lucky to be able to meet so many great people, and I know you feel exactly the same about some of the people you run into as well.
Yeah, pretty much anybody that I would call my best friends have been people I've met because of what I'm doing with YouTube, and it's just incredible to think of. Like, again, as you said 10 years ago, like, you don't talk to people on the internet that everybody's trying to take advantage of you, but yeah. It's amazing.